This is really probably one of my favorite crowds to talk to because you all spend every day, all day, thinking about risk. So what I find is you all have an appetite to understand the seismic changes that are impacting our world. A lot of the analysis that we see around risk, it's either siloed around some of the physical attributes and challenges that we see playing out on every single continent, or it's siloed in the context of cybersecurity. But the reality is the digital world and the physical world are really just two fronts of the same system. And I want to begin with a quote from my favorite, reasonably obscure American inventor, who nobody will have heard of. His name is Charles Kettering. But you should sort of appreciate him because he gets partial credit for inventing the air conditioner. And he once remarked that we should all be concerned about the future because we're going to have to spend the rest of our lives there. And what I like about this is historically, the future was far more predictable. At best, we could hope for one or two great innovations during our lifetime, right? The printing press, the television, the fax machine. Now, as soon as we experience a new innovation in our hand, we're wondering when the next one is going to come out during holiday time and hoping our company will pay for it as a holiday gift. And every single technology that you can imagine or envision, even things that seem like science fiction, you'd have a hard time imagining something that doesn't have even a small chance of being possible within our lifetime. And we've never experienced this before in history, and this will only be more the case as technology develops. Now, before we look at the future and look at where we're going, it's important to understand where we are and where we came from. The story of mobile access is an even greater story, where we've gone from the year 2000 from 907 million mobile phones in circulation to roughly 6.2, 6.3 billion mobile phones. To be able to upload the same length of video content to YouTube that is uploaded in a single year by just everyday users. So everyday users are outpacing this sort of bastion of production that we've become familiar with in Hollywood. You have 1.5 million Android devices activated every single day, roughly 1.2, 1.3 billion Android users worldwide, and the operating system is less than a decade old. You have more SMSs, text messages sent in a single day in the United States than the entire population of Earth several times over. Countries like Russia and Tunisia have more than 2 or 3 times the number of mobile subscriptions as their entire population because so many people have multiple SIM cards and multiple phones. Now, if you're not convinced by these statistics to show the sort of power and breadth of this, let's look at the age-old battle between communications and sanitation. Yes, this is sort of a battle. You have, as I mentioned, 6.2, 6.3 billion mobile phones in circulation worldwide. You only have 4.2 billion toothbrushes in circulation worldwide. Now, last time I checked, a mobile device was far more expensive than a toothbrush, and sanitation was much more important to one's livelihood than their ability to communicate, and yet people still choose to spend their resources on mobile devices instead of toothbrushes. And I'm sure there's some sort of age demographic split there. In India, you have more mobile devices in circulation than you have outhouses. Anyway, you sort of get the point. I don't need to belabor the statistics. The reason I throw all of these out there is, in fact, not to wow you with these statistics, but actually to tell you that they don't tell you even a fraction of the story. All these statistics that I threw out, they in fact tell you nothing about the technological revolution other than the spread of the tools, the speed of the tools, the ubiquity of the tools. There's a missing piece of the story that is missing from everyday discourse around the technological revolution. And that missing piece of the story is why any of it matters. If you think about where people are coming online in some of the most challenging parts of the world. And as the entire world gets connected, the developed and the developing world will all become part of the same information highway and part of the same ecosystem. Whether you're urban or rural, whether you're well-educated or not well-educated, whether you're this religion or that religion, whether you have these political views or those political views will matter less as we're all integrated into the same system. Now, to understand this, I sort of draw on a quote from an American director who I hesitate to quote, but I happen to like his quote. Woody Allen once said that 80% of life is showing up. What I've tried to do is show up in different parts of the world to observe some of those statistics that I mentioned to you and answer the question, why do they matter?